Gurudeva has put one line opener for these two shlokas, and according to Gurudeva, what is extolled here is tranquility. The shloka, if it is rearranged, it gives a mantra for our day-to-day life. Ayuktasya buddhihi na asti. Ayuktasya na bhavana. Abhavataya cha na shantihi. Ashantasya kutas sukam. This is perhaps the Anvayartha. If we rearrange the word, the shloka would come this way. As Himashiji pointed out, yukta, ayukta, these are the vadi swaras of this note. Yukta, ayukta. Yukta, ayukta, and mukta. These are three avasthas. None so far in this world can be in any state other than these three. You are either yukta, ayukta, or mukta. The question is, yukta, word yukta has come from the dhatu yuja, to yoke. To lock yourself with something is yukta. So that means it presupposes two things. One cannot lock with oneself. One has to lock with something else or the other. So what is the locking that is being talked here? What is the yuktata that is being discussed here? We all engage ourselves in this world, which is a yuktata. We yoke ourselves in this world. When we say we yoke ourselves, what part of me yokes? Not my karmendriyas, not my jnanendriyas, because they are virtually useless if the mind is not there. And not that part of the mind which is just giving me the description and narration of whatever is being observed through the indriyas, but that part of the mind which is able to decide. The determinative faculty of the antakarana or the mind, which is buddhi. So yukta means I am employing my determinative faculty of the mind. So we know that yukta means on one side there is buddhi. Buddhi alone cannot be yukta. It has to be yukta with something. Now the question is, what is the choice of yoking? What is the choice of locking up yourself in your intellect with what? The moment you try to lock it up with veracity of objects, multiple objects, splitting from one object to the other object, the determinative faculty dissolves. Why? The gentleman is not determining anything. He just brushing through umpteen number of subjects and objects around. So when the mind is in a chanchalyata, when the mind is in indeterminative mode, when the mind is flitting from object to object, the intellect is conspicuously absent because the discriminative faculty is not applied. The jnanendriyas are in full force, giving variety of inputs in the form of name and shape, nam and rupa. And the mosaic of variety of objects, taking the mind for a ride through the kaleidoscope of diversities that are all around, that is the time the buddhi is in shushupti avastha, in a sleeping mode. Such a buddhi is not now yoked because the mind, the antakarana, the sankalpa vikalpatmaka vritti is in the process of yoking. Buddhi has already gone into a hibernation mode. Such a mind is called ayukta. The buddhi of such a person is ayukta. Why? Viveka has not been utilized. In other words, udayam of viveka would mean buddhi is employed. I saw a beautiful damsel walking on the road. The eyes notice that, throws back immediately the perceptive mode. The mind gets into the action. The vigorous action of mind gets into how beautiful, how she's fine, this, what not I shall do if she is with me, what, etc., etc., etc. Discrimination is completely absent. The ideas galore. The ideas are nothing else but sankalpa and vikalpas. Buddhi is in sleeping mode. So this state of what is called as a khayali pulao, ideating Sheikh Chilli, is the ayukta mind. When the buddhi comes into the picture at such point of time, and if we remember Bhagavad Gita at that point of time, then we say saundaryam iti, expression of God's own nature. It is called Alladini Shakti. So the God has liberally given the beauty to this lady, and that beauty is making me feel good, not lustful, but good, prasanna, because in the lady I saw the Shakti Devi throwing its Alladini Shakti or the Saundarya Shakti in abundance, appreciating the Shakti part of the Ishvara. If I look at that lady, then the buddhi has come into the picture. Such a person is buddhi yukta. He is a yukta. So there are two things: the mind in the center, objects in the front, and the determinative faculty on the backside. So the posterior aspect of a human being is buddhi. The anterior aspect is interaction with the objects. When the interaction with object is in a very steady form, and moment we steady, we mean one. Ek agrata, ekam agre asita. If I'm reading, I have an object called book in front of me. Now my mind is completely focused on that particular object. Such a focused object, such an ekagrata on a vishayam is called bhavana. When we interact with any object, just try to visualize an interaction with any object of our choice. Whenever we interact with any object, every interaction with an object involves dissolution of your own state. So your self-awareness in the form of body. Here the self, I am not talking about Atman, but about the body. Because we all know I am means I am the body. It is a Brahma, but that is what we feel. So when I look at every object, I get engrossed in the object. This engrossing, what is engrossing? Dissolving yourself and trying to be one with that object. Before this process of dissolving yourself and becoming one with the object is complete, your mind pushes you from that object to the other object. So imagine a person that is taking only a dip in the water in multiple water tanks. The mind throws itself into multiple objects and touches the surface of each object, which is called adsorption and not absorption. Touching the surface. When you touch a surface, that means the focus on that object has been momentary or transitory or time-bound. A flitting interaction with objects, touching the surface of object, is a mind that is ayukta anteriorly. That means it is a bhavana virahita, unconcentrated mind, flitting from object to object, place to place, thought to thought. And when the mind is not engaged to only one object in the front, naturally on the backside, the buddhi, the determinative faculty, goes into sleep mode. In other words, on the backside, ever awareness of the buddhi. On the front side, the focus on the object under consideration. Such a mind is called yukta atma, yuktatma, yukta mind. There is bhavana anteriorly, there is yoking of buddhi posteriorly, and now the things are aligned. Now the scattered sun rays of consciousness or chetana have come into the straight line. The mind now acting as a convex lens to focus the entire rays on one object, and then the fire burns. The concentration here now yields the results that are expected to be obtained by focusing or concentrating on one object. The one who has continuously practiced the art of concentration, in other words, one who is yukta always, he becomes sahasavastha in yuktata to an extent where he even forgets the voluntary effort of putting the determinative faculty called buddhi and bhavana together, and it becomes the very nature of that particular person. Such a person who does not do any effort, effortlessly, naturally aligning the buddhi with the object through the bhavana or meditation, is a person who is mukta. Now the buddhi is entirely under the control of natural control of the consciousness. The prism is no more vibrating. The prism is no more dirty. The prism is steady and clear. The ray of the light called Chaitanyam is falling on the prism in the most natural way, emanating from the other side through the act of meditation on the object. So vimukta, so ayukta, yukta, and mukta. If the buddhi is ayukta, that means determinative faculty is not employed. Why would it not be employed? Determinative faculty is buddhi. Buddhi is sattva guna samuchaya of, if we look at the creation of from prakriti to the buddhi, mahat, prakriti, mahat or pradhan tattva, buddhi, ahankara, sattva guna rajasa, out of the tamo guna, with the help of chalana of rajoguna, the jnanendriyas are created. The Sattva Guna of all Jnanendriyas in a cumulative form, Samuchaya is Buddhi. So Buddhi is Shuddha Sattva Gunatmaka. If Buddhi is Sattva Gunatmaka and I have to employ the Buddhi, I have to have the Sattva Guna. If the Sattva Guna is not there, Buddhi is not there. Where is the question of employing the Buddhi? Higher the Sattva Guna, prakhar the Buddhi, application becomes easier. Similarly, on the bhavana side, the chanchalyata of the mind or the daurbalya of the mind, the stupefied mind is tamasika mind. Ever tossing and kshipta mind is rajasika mind. These two minds cannot concentrate, so they cannot have bhavana. When we or any two objects interact with each other, the involvement of both these objects in each other gives rise to a state called bhavana. Bhava is kriyatmaka. Even if you look at the grammar of Patanjali, Nama, Akhyata, Upasarga, Nipata, these are the four aspects of the words, of which Akhyata, which is Kriyapada, is called Bhavavachaka. Bhavavachaka means Kriyavachaka. And Kriya is possible when two things interact with each other. So when two things interact, like mind and the object, when they do interact, a creation of bhava is there. Some kind of relationship establishes or opens up between the object and the subject. The essence of this interaction called bhava is called bhavana. More intimate and closer the relation between the subject and the object for a longer duration of time, there is intense bhavana. In fact, this is the basis of Bhakti Shastra. Thinking of Lord Krishna everywhere, we create a bhavana in our mind about Sri Krishna. And when you are so focused on Sri Krishna, the buddhi being at its best, bhavana, the meditation or the focus or the faculty of focus on Sri Krishna at its best, it excludes involvement with any other object in the world. And that is when you become yukta. So to avoid ayuktata, yuktata is the immediate next step. If yuktata is practiced for sufficient period of time, muktata is the next gate, after which there is no effort. The reason this ayuktata happens, why it should happen? Why should I be ayukta? That is because I have problem with three aspects. I have notions about astitva. I'm existing, I know. But ask anyone, what do you mean by you're existing? He will say, sir, my body is existing. This is Dr. Jadhav. Astitva is a sharira. Then, sir, what is the purpose of you in this life? Why are you come in the world? What is prayojanam? Sir, merry making money, material benefits, enjoying, creating family, giving best to them at the exclusion of others, being the best in the world, to rule over them. These are our prayojanas. And third thing is anubhava. What is my anubhava? I enjoy, I get pain. My relation troubles me. I am sometimes happy. I want to be away from the happiness. This is my anubhava. So my astitva, prayojana and anubhava, all three are Brahma. When I don't know my astitva, it is called prameya asambhavana. I am not the body. I am the Atman. This is Pancha Mahabhautika Sharira given to me because of my Apurva Punya Papam. I have taken this deha because of that. Once I come to know, then my Prameya Asambhavana is removed. And the instrument to remove this Asambhavana is Shravanam. About Prayojanam, the Prayasam is not my Prayojanam, making money, begetting children, troubling others. This is not my Prayojanam, is to know my own nature. This is called Pramana Asambhavana. This is retired or removed with the help of Mananam. And then the Anubhav, that I am the body, has to be replaced by I am the Chaitanya. This is called removal of Viparita Bhavana. This is done by Nididhyasanam. So a Yukta Buddhi, Yukta Bhavana person is the one who has no doubt about Astitva Prayojana Anubhava. In other words, the one who has mastered the art of Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhasanam is the only one who is Buddhi Yukta, Bhavana Yukta. And Buddhi Yukta, Bhavana Yukta, these are the two poles on which stands a beautiful idol called Shanti. Himanshu said, Shanti precedes happiness. No, sir, Shanti is happiness. It doesn't precede. In fact, Shanti is given different names like Parashanti, Chirashanti. Parashanti, Chirashanti is nothing else but happiness. Happiness and peace are two sides of the same coin. You can't use a word that I am very happy, but I am Ashanta. Wrong, sir. There is something wrong in the composition of the statement. So obtaining Shanti, what is Shanti? Shanti is abhava of vichara. That means vritti shunyata is abhava, vritti shunyata or vritti abhava or vritti nirodha. It's Shanti. And when there is vritti nirodha, the ever-present state of Anandam just gets exposed. We are not creating Anandam. The cloud of Ashanti, when it is removed, the sun is always there shining. You don't create a new sun. So Anandam is not manufactured. It is ever existing, covered by the Ashanti, created by the Ayukta Buddhi and Ayukta Bhavana. So our own wrong notions about ourselves. So notion leads to motion, motion leads to commotion, and that is why we go from bliss to blister. So to come from blister to bliss, commotion has to be avoided, brought back into controlled motion, removal of notion, and focusing on one object. What should that object be? That object cannot be a Vaishayika object. We have done that. We have focused enough on our bodies to get the bodily pleasures. It has not given us that pleasure. So the focus has to be something which does not contaminate me further. Such a focus is Lord. Focus on Him with Rupa, with Guna. Only with Guna, without the Rupa, or without the Guna, without the Rupa. Choice is yours. Depends on how much is your preparation since last so many births. Scale the Himalayas from the southern side, from the western side, from the Lakhol side, depends on how good mountaineer you are. And that is why Gurudev said, unless there is tranquility, there cannot be steadiness of intellectual application. How do we employ this in day-to-day practice? Observe every time. Any commotion coming, there is an urgency to react, urgency to respond. Hold your reins, hold your horses. Steady. Think. Modulate. Formulate the words. Use proper words to even respond and never to react. The one who has no philosophical goal in life to strive and yearn for will not know the peace of mind. So first of all, if your goal is not philosophy, mind well, in Sanskrit philosophy word is said as tat tvam jnana, tattva jnana, tat tvam jnanam. So if you don't have the focus or the goal of life as to know my real nature, howsoever you may try, 1,000 Bill Gates will come, hundreds Donald Trumps will come, happiness, shanti cannot come. Why? Goal is wrong. Alexander, for that matter, all the kings, none of them could be said to be happy. While the lords of this universe, the gurus and sadgurus and saintly people, because they had the goal in front of them. That is why if we have to follow the philosophical goal, we have to always keep in mind those who kept this goal and reached as our companions. And then only our boat will start going to the right direction. Naiya mori nike nike chalan lagi. चढ़े बड़े संत बड़ भागी नैया मोरी निके निके चालन लागी. Keep accompaniment of thoughts of the sense and the goal for the life is automatically deciphered. If this is the case, then the one who does not do this and lets his indriyas charanti, let loose the indriyas, not sanyate indriyas, not the horses that are reined in, the horses that have been let loose. Indriyana hi charatam yan manu anuvidhiyante. आगे आगे इंद्रिय जा रहे, पीछे पीछे मन. Very wrong. Tulsidas Maharaj in Bhavarta Ramayana, in Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas, describes Rama's ayanam, but it is all philosophical. आगे आगे राम चलत है, पीछे लक्ष्मण भाई, इनके पीछे चलत है हमारी सीता माई. Chaitanya is going in front. Lakshmana, Lakshmana, Laksha is Buddhi. Chaitanya is being followed by Buddhi, is followed by Prakruti. That means all the Indriyas. This is how Rama's ayanam is. Indriyana hi charatam. Indriyas will keep going outside. Where will you let these Indriyas go for charanti? In fact, in Hindi as well as local language dialects, the word charanti has come as a charana means khana. The cows are taken for charne ke liye, charwaha, the one who takes the cows or the cow herds for grazing. Similarly, we take our indriyas for grazing. And that's why we have to be careful about where do they do this charanam. Kabir Maharaj says, Hirana, samajh bujh charana. Samajh bujh, with buddhi yukta, let the indriyas go. Samajh bujh charana. Ek ban charana, bhavana yukta. Ek ban, ekagrata. Ek means nirguna nirakar. No, I cannot concentrate on nirguna nirakar. I can only do thinking that I am in Dvaita, he is Krishna, I am Bhakta. Allowed. Eka bana charana, duje bana charana, tije bana pagamat dharana. Why? Tije bana means other than Lord and Nirguna Nirakar. Third world is world of objects. Tije bana me pacha paradhi. There are scavengers in the third world. Pacha paradhi, panchendriya. तिजे बन में पाच पारधी इनके नजर मत पड़ना समझ बुझ चरना. And if at all you do that, then tadasya harati prajnam. The biggest loss in this world is loss of intellect. There is no other big loss as that. You can lose everything in this world, nothing will happen if prajna is lost. What is prajna? Prakarshena jnayate. I come to know the right and wrong through buddhi. When buddhi is employed at its best, becomes prajna. That's why Adi Shankaracharya Maharaj says, Kama krodhascha lobhascha dehe tishtati taskaraha jnana ratna apaharaya tasmat jagruta jagruta. Be aware. Otherwise, like the way the boat is propelled forward by the gush of the wind, the indriyas, the prajna will be harana. Therefore, Swamiji's words, to be chiseled on the mind, senses are to be controlled if man is to live a better and more purposeful life, designed and planned for enduring success. Senses are to be controlled. This is the final message of Gurudeva to us. Control the senses. Let them come and ask me, Master, should I do this? Right now, it is other way around. It is a dragging us. Senses are dragging us. That is why tadasya harati prajna. Hari Om.